This is KTN, the station that has kept you abreast, kept you informed all through the process from start, and will sit through the end just to make sure you're up to speed at whatever corner of this country you're at. We're happy to be joined by Joseph Magutt, who's a political analyst and consultant in conflict resolution. And of course, he joins us as we continue speaking to Pierre Lumumba, who's been with us for the better part of the morning, and we're not complaining. Now, I know there's a comment you'd like to give quickly. Maybe just to start off with you so that we can give Magutt a feel of things. We spoke before we went to the graphs. We spoke to Chiro Ali Mokwere, who in his own understanding gave the assessment that Kenyans have decided we want the old constitution.
I think Mr. Mokwere does not understand the issue. Kenyans long ago, 15 years ago, resolved that they do not want the current constitution. That is why they have fought so long, invested in terms of emotions and material. The statement they have made by voting down this proposed constitution is that we gave our views, and those views are not reflected in the manner that we desire. And as a senior member of the government, I believe that Mr. Mokwere should really, in humility, acquaint himself with the process of the struggle for constitution making in this country. And he'll then stand informed that Kenyans are still waiting for the constitution that they spoke about. And that is what this government and Mr. Mokwere in it, must deliver.
All right. Joseph, you join us at a good time, and being a political analyst, you're not afraid to put your fingers in it and remove the gloves. A long list here. We're looking at names like Mudia Wori, Charity Ngilu, Chirao Ali Mokwere, Caleb Bendile, Abdullah Ngozi, Maurice Zoro, Joseph Kingi, Suleiman Shakombo. All these are names of people who championed the banana camp, they championed the orange camp, and they championed the camps which they said they would deliver to their respective teams. This didn't come through for them. When you look at a list like this, Joseph, in your estimation, what is the statement being made here?
First, Louis, let me say this, that I wish to relay my heartfelt felicitations to Kenyans for having, in a brilliant and gallant way, demonstrated political maturity in having exercised their democratic right in a peaceful and decorum manner. And I think that should be the way forward for Kenya. Coming to what you've just said, I think that clearly indicates that Kenyans are now apparently politically informed, and they're voting on issue-based and not propose the political personalities that have been towering over them. And so if that is the case, I think that should be the way forward for Kenyans. Our political conduct should always be informed by issues, the merits and demerits of issues, and not rabble-rousing and not ethnicization that our politicians have been pandering on.
I still see a challenge there, especially how do we separate from looking at such a list when we see names that were championed. Professor George Saitoti is in this list. John Koech is in this list. Norman Nyaga is in this list. How do we separate this from an indicator of how the polls will go in 2007?
Unfortunately, Louis, we are now, as Kenyans, pegging the referendum on 2007, which indeed may not be the case. But I must say this, that these folks who have been, the giants who have been flawed, have a cause to worry. It may indeed mean their political departure comes 007. But having said that, this may not necessarily indicate what is going to happen in 07. This perhaps was an issue-based referendum and not the personalities as per se.
Right. And even for you, Pilo, that's one of the challenges we're looking at. We're saying, how do we separate from now the aspect of we're dealing with a document, the facilitation of the delivery of a document for our future? How do we separate that from looking at names who are being called giants who've fallen in their respective turfs? And we're not supposed to look at this and say an indicator is here on how 2007 will go.
I think these individuals must now know that the true giants are the people of Kenya. Part of the problem that we have had individuals who think that they can sway the electorate whichever way they desire. And this kind of statement is a statement to them, as my good friend Magutt said, that time must come that we must realize that the people of Kenya can be issue-driven. And in as much as we cannot relate it to the elections in 2007, it is an occasion for soul-searching. that if you fail to take the pulse of the people are going to shock you. And these individuals must now go into their inner sanctums and examine themselves and ask themselves, where did we lose it with our people that they were so unequivocal in their statement and we did not hear them? That is what humility demands of them at this hour.
Joseph, it has been argued in certain quarters that President Kibaki is still in a win-win situation. Of the speech that is expected of the president at any point in the day or when he chooses he's going to speak to the country, what will be your expectations of the speech from President Kibaki?
I think the president has to be statesmanly. Number one, I think he's got to clearly indicate that in defeat or victory, we must show magnanimity. We must, as a country, unite. And so he's got a role, a responsibility to bring what I would call national entente, drive this country into a peaceful country, drive this country into a place of peace and political maturity. And I do hope he's not going to take sides or propose the referendum that has just taken place. I do hope, number one, he is going to strive to bring about the national unity, number one, by extending an olive branch towards the other end and telling them, look here folks, you've won, but this country is more important than individual or personalities. Second, I think he is going to try and attempt to draw a program of action and in a way give Kenyans the trust and assurance again that Kenya is still on track and has not lost track.
Do you see any level of compromise with the speech he made on Sunday, considering what has happened today? Has he compromised himself in any quarter?
Unfortunately, and that was my prediction, and I did say on the same forum right here that the president was going to give a speech. Number one was to perhaps assure Kenyans that we wanted to take this country on a peaceful path and not to divide the country along ethnic lines. That did come to pass. The president issued a statement on Sunday evening. Unfortunately, however, he brought about still the politics of the referendum. And I do hope today that he's going to give it a paradigm shift and impress upon Kenyans that we've come a long way and we have to come together now as a nation and find out our next direction.
Is Yvonne Hamachi on the line, she of the youth leadership? Yvonne?
Hi Louis, how are you?
I'm good, Yvonne. Speak to us and tell us what your environment is like after the ballot has come in.
Well, first and foremost, we'd like to say congratulations to the Orange Camp. It's definitely a well-deserved win. We saw them campaigning, running around, spreading rumors and propaganda, but we want to say congratulations to them. And I think that Kenyans were trying to teach us as leaders in the Yes team a lesson, which we've definitely learned from. And that's why I would like to play position for Kenya when we're talking about reconciliation. I think Ford Kenya, through its party leader, was the first party that came out and said that we must look at Kenya beyond the 21st and 22nd. And we have a lot of wounds that need to be hit both sides.
Yvonne, one of the greatly abused quarters of this country has been that of the youth by political leaders. And looking at you standing for youth for yes, what does this portend for you in your position of leadership within the ranks of the youth?
Well, I think one of the reasons that we did lose as yes is because we failed to portray a more youthful image, and we failed to be able to put our young or more youthful leaders at the forefront. Our agenda was more old guard. And as I said, it is a lesson that we've learned. It's not gone unsaid or unnoticed. And we are going to retreat after this as yes, as NARC, and then look into ways of seeing how we can put youth on top of the agenda. Definitely, we lost out as young people and as women.
Yvonne, allow me to tap into that. Just the element of saying you lost because you didn't give an exactly youthful image. So exactly who were the people that you were putting there to champion your cause?
We had many people. In fact, in our Youth for Yes team, we had very many young people, able people, youth leaders both from society. We had youth leaders from political parties. We even have many young members of parliament like Sestivim Barire, like Dansor Mungatana, like Peter Munya. And I'm sure it did not go unnoticed that those that were leading the campaign were the more elderly statesmen like Uncle Moody and Njenga Karume. So I don't think that I think that's an open secret.